Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergog, your host, and today I will take a look at the 3 most horrible things in all of Overlord. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, and say my thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's take a look at the topic at hand. Overlord is, to put it mildly, not necessarily the most child-friendly anime and light novel out there. In parts it's so dark and disturbing that, in all likelihood, if it would be adapted into a live-action movie or series, hopefully not by whoever made Death Note, the Death Note Netflix remake, it would be rated at least mature, simply because the book series has a plethora of horrors, and today I will take a closer look at them. And the first, genuinely creepy aspect is the Great Tomb of Nazarick as a whole, and behind all of these horrors there's a certain logic. The Great Tomb was already designed in the game Yggdrasil Online by the guild members. And given that the 41 guild members of Einzulgon all played heteromorphic avatars and were therefore rumored and downright labeled to be monsters, they willingly embraced monstrosity and terror. And therefore, many of the guild's various horror elements were crafted for stylish reasons. However, all of this had also another purpose, which becomes clear when you realize how Yggdrasil Online was played. It wasn't played comfortably in front of a PC or with a controller in hand on the couch. It was a full-on dive MMORPG. This means that the players saw the game world through the eyes of the avatars. They saw what the avatars saw and felt what the avatars felt. And Nazarick exploited this. Imagine how you would have felt suddenly finding yourself in the cockroach-filled black capsule on the 2nd floor. You couldn't even mentally prepare for it, because you were primarily teleported into this chamber if you entered it at random, because if you made one single uncareful step, you would trigger a teleportation trap. And then all of a sudden, you would find yourself standing up to your chest in cockroaches. Considering how the players are quite powerful, there's of course no way that some cockroaches could just harm a level 100 player. They were hardly a threat, but the psychological shock the players themselves endured would likely have been considerable. Especially because everything felt so real. And I believe anyone who has ever worn a VR headset can relate to the sensation of unexpectedly finding an opponent behind themselves in Skyrim or Fallout, or being suddenly touched in real life while you're wearing VR. Not a pleasant experience. Especially for the neighbors who hear me screaming like a little girl at night. And Nazarick is full of such horror traps, designed primarily to demoralize opponents. I also recall the exploding zombies from the 7th volume, and then there's of course Neuronist Painkill, as well as numerous other creatures that we have yet to encounter, such as Gashoku Koshu Uo, or the tentacle entity we haven't even glimpsed at all. And as mentioned, all of this has now become real. All the things that were so exaggeratedly awful, even shocking, just in a virtual world, are now real. Which is quite a chilling thought. And speaking of chilling, what is also quite distressing but a different kind of horror entirely is the fact that Einzulgon seems to be losing his humanity piece by piece. First and foremost, Einz is directly confronted with his emotional dampener, and even though this provides enormous advantages in battle, as strong emotions such as pain, fear, shock, or confusion are essentially immediately suppressed and reduced to the point where they at least no longer distract from combat. This dampener also means that Einzelgone cannot laugh and cannot experience genuine joy and cannot feel all of the things that made him once human. And yes, of course, Einzelgone also lacks a bone that he, and especially Albedo, would gladly have. As a human, Eins might have fallen in love with Albedo, and would have been far happier than he is now. But as an undead ruler, he is left only with the memory of better times, when he still had emotions and could experience genuine joy. And as I've mentioned in one of my previous videos before, Einzelgone is being shaped by his surroundings. Simply put, Einzelgone, during his travels with Evil Eye through the world in the bonus volume, became something like Ark, a skeleton that helps people. However, through his current environment of demons and devils and all sorts of other horrors from the Great Tomb, Eins is likely to gradually lose the remainder of his humanity, becoming more and more the undead overlord that he currently pretends to be. This whole scenario somewhat reminds me a bit of the story of Angron. For those not familiar with Warhammer 40k, the man had parts of his brain amputated and was equipped with a device that caused him immense pain whenever he wasn't killing something. And the last of the three horrors is Lovecraftian horror at its finest, because Overlord actually manages to make indescribable horror actually tangible. In Lovecraft's universe, alongside Cthulhu and other monstrous cosmic entities, there's a fundamental principle. The universe is crawling with horrors and functions on a consciousness level and dimensions that our human mind simply cannot fathom. On the other hand, arcane rituals are often terribly flawed because one doesn't precisely understand what one is actually doing here, and spells and formulas and runes are often mistranslated or incomplete. But Overlord actually manages to portray this very elusive horror well by simply showing the story from the perspective of these horrors. Einzelgone has no idea how to precisely lead the Great Tomb of Nazarick, and he is completely blind when it comes to the order to conquer the world that he simply has accidentally given and not noticed for like 7 volumes. And he is also the ruler of the Great Tomb of Nazarick and its many horrors. And all of this is very reminiscent of Azathoth, the blind idiot god. And come to think of it, Demiurge and Pandora's Actor are also quite similar to Nyarlathotep and Yog-Sothoth, to other cosmic horror entities. And if you've watched my other videos about players, world items, and the dragons of Overlord, you can probably guess what I'm getting at. The supposed ritual transporting the players into the new world likely originated from the dragons. They are likely the reason why players came to this new world. They likely could see into other dimensions, but completely failed to understand that Yggdrasil Online is a video game, or what a video game even is. Therefore the ritual went wrong, and the magic of the dragons was distorted and corrupted, while unknown, malevolent entities such as the 8 Great Kings invaded the new world, and they had driven the Dragon Lords to the brink of extinction. What remains are a few strong dragons that stand no chance against Einzelgone's guild. So therefore, Overlord is a Lovecraftian horror story from the perspective of the horror. And for the new world and the dragons, there's not even a hint of a possibility of actually understanding what Einzelgone actually is, what perspectives and experiences have shaped Einzelgone's character, and what he truly wants. Therefore, the individual experiences and perception of reality simply did not suffice, at least for the new world, to comprehend what the Grey Tomb and the NPCs and players actually are, and how Ainz thinks and acts. They lack this understanding of gaming, of this other dimension, for lack of a better term. And setting up and executing all of this flawlessly is just another reason why I really like Overlord, because no other horror story, that at least I'm familiar with, has, especially not if it is a cosmic horror story, has delivered such a narrative where you see and perceive everything from the perspective of the horror entity. And yet, the story and its many horrors work brilliantly. And with that said, now it's your turn. Do you agree? Or do you think that there are way more horrifying things in Overlord than the 3 I have just listed? Let me know down in the comment section. And while you type, let me quickly say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Ada Daddy Ada, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Thiralshivan, Guy with That Hat, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Lovraiser, Mervek, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, oh hell no, Normal Toad, Okill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Cune Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrinekeeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.